All right, Chapter 3, Bidding War. Gerald heard the names of the two companies everyone was so up in arms over, and let his shock show. Gerald was shocked for a different reason than everyone thought. Lewis mocked him. See, you are so shocked by these powerful companies you can't even grasp their names. However, these were both his companies now. Was his family so powerful that these giant companies were considered poor subsidiaries to them? Gerald began to form a plan. He could not tell his wife who he was, for that could land both of them in danger. Maybe he could help her from the sidelines. Sabine then yelled at them all, regardless of what that useless idiot thinks, we need to figure out some way to win a contract. I want everyone to submit their bids by the end of the night. We cannot lose this contract. Whoever figure out a deal to win this contract, I will make CEO in my stead, Sabine offered to them all. Everyone quickly clamored and agreed. With that, the conference call ended. Adriana unwrapped her biscuit but could not eat. Gerald, what do we do? We are almost out of money, and if we do not land a contract, we will be done for. Gerald walked over and comforted his wife. Do not worry. One of the reasons I am home early is to bring you this breakfast, for you to eat, while I tell you the second reason I came home early. He hugged her tightly, then unwrapped her biscuit fully and held it up for her to eat. Adriana sighed but grabbed it herself and took a bite. The second reason I came home early is because I managed to get a job at Happy Sun Transport. Gerald beams. He was not lying to her. He had gotten a job there. Being the CEO of the company is not the same as working at a staff, but it was indeed a job. Adriana smiled and almost choked on her biscuit. Gerald grabbed her some water. After washing it down, she smiled. That is great. I am so happy for you, but how does that help us with the family problem? Gerald sighed gently but firmly. I bet if you just submit an honest bid and did not try an underbid, I am sure they will accept it without glancing at other offers. I have heard some inner information. Adriana frowned. She took another bite before saying, Are you really so sure about this information? Gerald nodded. Adriana hesitated. She loves her man, but she still has doubts about all these. How can he know they will get the contract with not so attractive offer? Is his information reliable? She looked at her reassuring husband, thinking about the position she'll be given if she's the one that sealed the deal, and decides to take her chance at last. She quickly put together an honest bid. There was no shortcuts or discounts. It was full profit. She committed their entire fleet with this bid. She submitted it. Quickly, her phone began to ring. It was her mother. She answered to a loud, screaming yell. What have you done? Adriana quietly said, I submitted our bid. Sabine was furious. You did not offer any discounts. They will never accept this bid. You have doomed us all. Who put you up to this? It was that idiot husband, wasn't it? I will cut over there and skin him alive. Adriana had committed their entire fleet, and once the bid was submitted, you were not able to revise it. Everyone else was still trying to figure out where to cut costs to bring the bid down. Adriana had sealed the entire company's bid herself, without asking anyone. Adriana gazed at Gerald worriedly. She had done what he had told her to do, and now her fate and her entire family depends on the result. Don't worry, you will get it. Gerald pulled her to his side and comforted her again. Everyone will submit their bid, but will lose money for offering that low. If you submit your bid and actually make money, is that not better? Sabine screamed through the phone. I should have strangled you the moment her father brought you home. Idiot! Good for nothing! Boot-licking simpleton! More insults rained down for another couple of minutes. Gerald pulled out his phone and sent a text message to Alphonse. Have Star Ocean Group accept my wife's bid for transport. Lewis had joined in on the call, and it was now a group call. They were both screaming at Gerald. Gerald waited for them both to take a breath. What's done is done. If you are so sure we will fail, would you like to make a wager? Lewis seethed. Wager my ass! What can you wager? Gerald grinned, flashing pearly whites. If the bid is not accepted, I will clean all of your boots with my tongue. But if the bid is accepted, you have to do the same to my boots. Lewis laughed out loud. Mother, did you hear that? He's offering to clean our shoes with his tongue. Sabine scoffed. I will stay out of this. I do not want his filthy tongue anywhere near my shoes. Lewis, however, agreed. Fine, I will happily let this retard volunteer to clean my shoes for free. Gerald was grinning from ear to ear. His wife was nervous. Gerald, have you lost your mind? If you clean their shoes with your tongue, you will lose all respect. Gerald patted his wife's shoulder. Do not worry, it is a good bid. However, this did not calm her heart. Lewis was laughing and mocking him. So, do you want to come to my house to do the licking, or should we do it at your house so your wife can watch and finally realize what a bootlicking loser you are and divorce you? Gerald smiled. Do it here. We can even ask all the heads to witness the event. Adriana paled. No, husband, please, do not make it worse. Please reconsider. Gerald would not back down. He wanted to see all of their faces. The contract submissions should be received and the results should be released the next day. Everyone planned to meet at the White Villa for breakfast, and to watch what they thought would be Gerald licking Lewis' shoes clean in front of the whole family. The contract would always be updated in the system the next morning at 8 a.m. This would be the time they all met for breakfast. Word was spreading fast through the family. Those that lived farther away boarded their private jets. Those that lived closer would drive earlier in the morning. A little after 7, people started arriving, Lewis being the first. He pushed their door open without an invite. Gerald, get your useless ass down here. I have some boots that need cleaning. And indeed, he had some very muddy, very dirty boots on, and was tracking prints into the home. Gerald saw this, but asked politely, would you mind taking them off till after breakfast? Lewis stamped on the ground, leaving a muddy heel print on the floor. You want me to go barefoot in this filthy pigsty? The nerve! He then stomped over towards the dining room table and sat down. Gerald was seething inside, but he kept calming himself, saying, patience, patience. Soon it will be his turn. Chapter 4. Spoiled Breakfast. Adriana was busy directing their staff in the kitchen to prepare a breakfast big enough for the whole family. More and more members were arriving, all wanting to humiliate Gerald and witness the show. As had become a custom in this family now, whenever they came over to the White House, they would leave their shoes in a pile for Gerald to clean and shine. While everyone was talking and clamoring, a deathly silence fell. Lewis shouted, What? The bidding has closed already? They had not even started breakfast. Everyone quickly pulled out their phones and checked. Indeed, the bidding had been closed. However, no winner was listed. Everyone was looking through their phones, but Lewis again was the first to respond. Look, they updated their social media pages. Everyone went to read the article. The new owner of Star Ocean Group and Happy Sun Transport would like to thank everyone for their bids. We have selected the most appropriate ones that align with our business goals. We will be sending out invitations to those we have selected in the next few days. Our new owner, Mr. White, thanks everyone for their submissions and says better luck next time. That was the end of the message. Everyone was looking at Gerald and Adriana. We are doomed, echoed around the room. Gerald, why don't you just save yourself further humiliation? Just clean our shoes now. Everyone else agreed. Gerald was standing there. This did not go according to his plans. Gerald thought he would have to pay a visit to Star Ocean Group today. However, first, he needed to find a way to stall. The selections have not been released. I am still confident, Gerald said. His wife walked over and took his arm. Dear, it is okay. We must accept our fate. She had already considered this failed, and that their family would be ruined. Gerald took his wife's hands and held them close. "Dear, do not worry. I am sure magic will happen," and flashed her a beaming smile. Adriana did not know why, but when he smiled, she felt relaxed and calm, like there could be no wrong in the world. It was one of the reasons she fell for him. Her father had raised them together. They spent all of their teen years in each other's company. That smile had won her heart. Adriana's father had planned their wedding to a T, even going so far as to book the venue. However, the day before the wedding, he had a heart attack. He was rushed to the hospital where he was stabilized, but in a coma. Adriana's family was very superstitious. They all took it as a bad omen and demanded they call off the wedding. Adriana and Gerald did not think this is what her father would have wanted, and had a small wedding at the courthouse instead. The months her father was in the hospital were a downward spiral for them in the family. The more her mother took over the business, the more she scorned them and pushed them down. The only reason Adriana was still in charge of her company was because her father had made sure there was no way it could be taken from her. Sabine despised the fact that they had gotten married anyways, and was trying to use the heart attack to cancel their engagement. Mr. Roberts was a fine man, and she would be much better off with him. Sabine had encouraged Mr. Roberts to pursue her daughter, even though she was now married. Sabine always said, "There was no wedding, so there was no marriage," even though the court did not agree. Mr. Roberts was a middle-aged man with a portly belly and a large bushy beard. He would always send gifts on her birthday and on every holiday for Adriana. Gerald did not like this man. Mr. Roberts was the next to speak. "Everyone, please, calm down. If he does not want to honor his wager, that is fine. Street urchins do not know the meaning of honor anyways." He sent a nasty grin at Gerald, framed by that bushy beard. Lewis laughed. "Yes, he is just a lowly street urchin. There is no way he would have any honor." Another of Adriana's brothers and his wife laughed as well. Her other sister and her husband also laughed. These two were Lawrence Hamilton and his wife Francesca, and Samantha and her husband Robert Wade. Francesca was heir to a lesser shipping company which owned 4 freight liners. Robert Wade owned a refinery, and his family produced fuel. Both of their families were lesser families, but prominent in the area. Everyone had to give them face. They were laughing at Gerald. The whole room was laughing. Mr. Roberts spoke again. "Sabine, do not worry. My family has done business with Star Ocean Group before. We will make sure to put in a good word for you. I even have a meeting with their new CEO today." Sabine smiled. "Mr. Roberts, you take such good care of us, unlike my worthless son-in-law. Adriana, divorce your husband this instant, and we will spare him licking everyone's shoes." Lewis grumbled, "But, Mother, I have waited so long for this day." Adriana was nervously sweating. She did not want to see her beloved husband ridiculed that far. She had watched him endure so much over the years. Before Adriana could speak, Gerald clenched his grasp on her hands and answered for her. "How about this? Seeing as you all hate me so much, the contracts are not out yet. If they do not accept the contract, not only will I clean everyone's boots, but I will divorce Adriana." Everyone howled. Sabine grinned evilly. If he was willing to cut her daughter loose, this was a win-win for her. "Fine, we will accept the delay," she answered. Gerald smiled larger. "What do I get for upping the stakes?" The room howled with laughter. Sabine held herself reserved, but had a hand over her mouth. "Fine. Seeing as you just do not know when to quit, if you still win, I will hold you in my arms and call you my favorite son-in-law." Gerald blanched. But the thought of that old bat having to stomach those words made him smile. "Deal," he says. "Swear on it." This family was superstitious. If he did not get an oath, they would all rescind. Sabine raised her hand and then glared at everyone. "If you are going to participate, you better swear." Lewis raised his hand, as did all of their brothers and sisters and their wives. Gerald was holding back his mad grin. "Fools! The contract is already ours! You are only increasing my face!" Adriana was worried. She did not want to divorce Gerald. She held his arm tightly. Gerald flashed her that soft smile. Do not worry, wife. Everything will be okay. Her grip relaxed. Now that this had passed and the deal was sworn on, everyone was chatting about who this Mr. White was. He was powerful enough to buy out 2 large international companies and casually move them to this small town. Chapter 5. Mr. White. Gerald heard everyone talking and was worried if they might associate him with this other Mr. White. Why couldn't my sister marry this Mr. White instead of the useless version that is her husband, said Samantha. Yeah, our version is completely worthless, except for shining shoes, said Francesca. But even a bum can polish shoes with enough spit, said Louis. Everyone laughed. They continued like this, at Gerald's tables, in Gerald's home, making fun of Gerald and humiliating him. This was normal. Gerald excused himself from the house. He did not even get a chance to get breakfast. He told them all he got a job and had to go work. Everyone laughed. You got a job? Are you shining shoes professionally now? Francesca laughed at him. Gerald then said, I got a job at Happy Sun Transport. Everyone stopped. Sabine smoked. Gerald, do not pander to us. We know you could never get a job there, even cleaning their toilets. Stop pretending. You will only make it worse when you have to divorce your wife. Gerald ignored them all and left. His stomach grumbled. Gerald needed to go figure out what had happened. He was looking forward to that moment, and it was delayed. Gerald drove away from the villa. After a bit of a drive, he pulled up to the office of Star Ocean Group. The moment Gerald exited his car, he recognized Mr. Roberts with a young blonde girl also getting out of a vehicle. Gerald did his best to quickly step inside. A shout was heard. Gerald White, is that you? Gerald stopped inside. He may as well. Mr. Roberts was walking up to Gerald now, talking with the young girl. This is the man I was telling you about. Gerald was shocked. Mr. Roberts was talking about me to a young girl. He can spit shine shoes like no one I have ever seen. Of course, Gerald thought. He also enjoyed poking fun at Gerald. The girl giggled. Oh, is that so? What is he doing here? Did the CEO need a shoe shine? Mr. Roberts laughed at Gerald. What are you doing here? Were you not saying you had to go work at breakfast? You were lying, weren't you? You just didn't want your wife to worry. Are you here to beg on behalf of your wife? Mr. Roberts laughed heartily, his round belly shaking. Gerald sighed. May as well mix truth with a lie again. I am here to apply for another job. Another job? Boy, stop lying to me. I know you never got the first one. You plan to go there dressed like that? At least shine your own shoes. Mr. Roberts pulled $1 from his wallet and tosses it. Go run yourself through a car wash. You stink. He laughs, and so does the girl as they walk past him into the building, while the dollar floats to the ground. Gerald grits his teeth. This man was the worst. He pretended to be nice, and then showed his real colors when no one was looking. Gerald slowly walked into the building behind the group. He saw Mr. Roberts talking to the receptionist. The receptionist saw Gerald and almost interrupted Mr. Roberts to welcome him. Gerald held his finger up to his mouth quietly. She paused and let them continue. Okay, sir, please wait here till the vice president summons you. Mr. Roberts walked over with the young blonde and they sat on the sofa waiting in the lobby. Gerald walked up to the receptionist and smiled at her. Hello, I am here to see. The receptionist cut him off. I know who you are here to see, sir. Please take the first elevator, she said, masking her awe. Right before Gerald walked away, he glanced at Mr. Roberts and then whispered to the receptionist. Make them wait, and then walked over to the elevator and entered it. When the doors to the elevator opened at the top floor, a small group of men in suits approached him. They all bowed. A small secretary-looking woman was standing in the middle of them. Her hair was pulled into a tight ponytail, glasses perched on the bridge of her nose. Hello, Mr. White. My name is Tatiana. I am the current vice president of the company. Please follow me. She says politely, and they part to make a path for Gerald. Gerald smiles and walks down the path they opened into the large, spacious office with a large, glass-tinted window. Gerald was about to take the guest seat, but Tatiana quickly motioned him to the main chair. Please, sir, your chair. Gerald sat down in the cushy but firm leather high-backed executive chair. The leather was exotic leopard skin. Do you currently do business with the Roberts family? Gerald asked. Yes, sir. We have over 40 contracts pending with them, and many more in progress. They run the local dock, Tatiana answered. Gerald smirked. They used to own the dock. Cancel all contracts. Remove all dealings with them. I want their names lower than dirt. I want you to buy the docks at all cost. Tatiana smiled. At once, sir. And what of the one waiting to meet with them? Waiting to meet with me? Gerald grinned. Does this room have a listening station anywhere? Tatiana hummed. Yes, sir. There's a private security office tied just to this room. Perfect. When I get settled in there, call them up, and then tell them exactly what I am about to tell you. Tell them we will no longer do business with stinky trash like them, and they should run themselves through a car wash before going out in public. Then tell them you will run them out of town and will be taking the dock from them. Then throw them out. Gerald spoke. Tatiana listened. Yes, sir. When Gerald left the office, Tatiana called the receptionist and had her send them up. Gerald had just gotten settled in the security office when he saw the elevator doors open and Mr. Roberts walk out of the doors on the camera feed. The 6 large men in suits were blocking the hall, and one of them stopped Mr. Roberts. That is far enough. You do not need to enter the office, he spoke. What do you mean I do not need to enter the office? You called me here as a guest. Is this how Star Ocean Group treats his business partners? Tatiana then walked out of the office doors, closing them behind her. Mr. Roberts, the CEO does not wish to see you, and he has asked me to relay a message. He said we will not do business with stinky trash like yourself, and you should run yourself through a car wash before going out into public. All contracts have been canceled, and all future contracts have been shredded. Also, it would be best if you left town on your own. Otherwise, we will make you. And do not worry about the docks. We will be taking those also, Tatiana said. Mr. Roberts got irate. What do you mean you won't do business with us? We are the Roberts. We are the docks. Who do you think you're talking to? And who do you think you are in front of the White family and Star Ocean Group? Tatiana snapped back. You had one measly dock and you did that one miserably. We are doing all companies a favor removing such trash from the system. You had one dock? The White family owns hundreds of docks. Remember your place. Her words vicious. Mr. Roberts paled. She was absolutely correct. Who were the Roberts family compared to the White family who owned Star Ocean Group? Tatiana then looked at the men. Throw them out. I never want to see their faces in Star Ocean Group again. Mr. Roberts' face was pale. He had no idea how he had offended such a powerful family. White? No, it could not be. There was no way that useless bum could be in control of such a large corporation like Star Ocean Group. Wasn't he an orphan? Mr. Roberts convinced himself it had to be another White family. Just a horrible coincidence. The 6 large men walked forward and grabbed Mr. Roberts and began to drag him to the stairwell. He started yelling at the top of his lungs, You can't do this! We are the Roberts! The docks are ours! You can't! His voice disappearing into the large hollow space as they dragged him down the stairs and then threw him outside the building near the dumpster. End chapter 5, and we're going to go ahead and stop this one there. Yep. Thank you all for tuning into this one.